I just love hearing Arian Foster and Vonta Leach, the Hammer, talk about how they get things done. And joining me now, John Harris, Andy Kalu. And Andy, we'll start with you. Just talk about the combination of Vonta Leach and Arian Foster.
Well, you call him the Hammer, but when you talk about Vonta Leach, the guys that have been hit by him, like myself in practice, we call him the battering ram. And this is a guy that loves to hit. He has one of those big pit bull heads, and he just loves to stick his head in there and clear the way for Arian Foster. And when you speak of Arian Foster, a lot of his naysayers say, well, he's a product of the system, the whole Denver zone blocking system. But this is a legit running back. I believe this year he is the best running back in the NFL. And the reason I say that is what he does in the open field. The first guy never tackles him. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he has vision. He has all the qualities to be a very good back, and you're seeing it.
I mean, heck, he's just a surprise all told, because the Texans had him sitting there for 13 or 14 weeks last year and they said, oh, let's give him a shot and see what he does. Last couple of games, he's great, but the Texans coaching staff wouldn't buy in. They went and got Ben Tate, but you could tell from the first day of summer camp, it was Arian Foster's job, and he hasn't let go, and he has been, as ND said, he's been the best back in the league, but his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield has been an undiscovered asset that's been so big for this team.
Let's talk about the task at hand tonight. What do the Texans have to do tonight to control this aggressive Ravens defense?
Well, I think one of the big keys is in pass protection. They got to make sure that they find the blitzers. They've got to be organized up front. They got to make sure their pass protection is solid, at least in just picking up every guy. Don't let a guy come free. Don't let Matt see a guy and go, we don't have protection for that guy. That's going to be big. Find the blitzers. And then up front, you're not going to win every single physical battle, but you at least have got to control the middle as best as you possibly can, and make sure you get a hat on Ray Lewis, which means you got to get some help on Haloti Ngata to get onto Ray Lewis. Do not let 52 run to the ball with no helmets hitting him.
Yeah, I'm worried about Ngata myself, and Mike Brazel, talked to him earlier this week. He said he is going to be one heck of a battle in him. But your thoughts on the offense, is there anything in particular you're looking to see them do?
Well, I'm going to keep it simple. You know, I didn't go to an Ivy League school like Brown. So,
oh, you just went to Rice. Yeah, that's right.
So I'll keep it simple. All I would say is that they have to go to Arian Foster and Andre Johnson early and often. When you're playing against one of the best defenses in the league, you need your best star power on offense to be involved, and you have to get them involved early. Don't try to overthink yourselves and say, well, they know the ball's going to Andre, so let's go to this other player. I think there's a reason why Andre gets the ball. There's a reason why you give the ball to Arian Foster, and everyone knows it's coming, but just go ahead and give them the ball.
Real quick, Matt Schaub's had a nice season, not awesome, but nice. There's been several times I feel that he's throwing the ball short, and there's a lot of times it could be touchdowns or big bang plays, and Andre has to wait, or et cetera. Do you feel he's off his game a little bit as far as his throwing?
Absolutely. I think Matt is a rhythm guy. I think last year he got in a rhythm throughout the entire season, and that dates all the way back to his days at Virginia. He had a couple of games early in his career where he couldn't find a rhythm at all, but once he did, he was the best quarterback in the ACC, even with Phillip Rivers there. He is a complete total rhythm quarterback, and he's been off it this year.
No, that's a great point. When you talk about rhythm quarterback, last year all he did was throw the ball because they didn't have a running game. This year they have the best running back in the NFL, so it's hard for him to find that rhythm. And with those long bombs where you see Andre Johnson stop and go back to it, my point is Matt Schaub, he's an accurate thrower, but he doesn't have that huge arm, so you can't expect him to make those 60, 70-yard throws.
I want to see him go a little bit more deep. All right, guys, thanks for joining us right now, and we'll get y'all a little bit later on in the show, right? All right. All right, welcome back to 39 pregame, and again, John Harris, Andy Kalu joining us. And a little while ago, we heard from the defensive lineman Antonio Smith and Sean Cody, and just talk about their performance, John. We'll start with you.
Well, I think Antonio Smith, I've said this before, I think he's been the most effective defensive lineman the Texans have had this season, whether it's rushing from the outside, playing the run on the outside, and trust me, he plays the run as well as anybody on the outside. But when he bumps inside, he gets a pretty good pass rush when he's going against guards or he gets singled up on a center somehow. So he's done it from inside and outside. I think Antonio Smith has had as effective a year as anybody's had up front.
I couldn't say better than he said it. He's absolutely right. The only problem with him, people open up their newspaper after the game, they look for his name and they see how many sacks he had, and it's usually 1 or 0. And he's not a sack artist. He's a versatile guy, just like he stated. He could go inside, he could go outside. But as a whole, they haven't got the job done. You know, you're talking about a young defensive backfield, and to help the young defensive backs, you have to be in the quarterback's face every other pass attempt, and we haven't seen that consistently. The last 3 weeks they've looked good, but for the entire season they haven't.
And that leads me to Mario Williams. Mario Williams has not been all that disruptive this year. I understand he has an injury, but he's getting single blocked a lot.
Well, you know, again, the people blocking him get paid also. They have pride. They take pride in their jobs. But when you say Mario hasn't been disruptive, he's leading the team in sacks. You know, I think he's 5th in the AFC in sacks. So he's doing something. He's not sitting there with his thumb in his mouth. Everybody around him has to step up, and they need to get some of the same stats that he has.
I guess where I see that is Julius Peppers, the Bears, they played the Eagles, and Julius Peppers was all over Michael Vick. Absolutely crazy. And I was really wanting to see Mario do the same thing the very next week, and it looked like 2 different players. He's not the 90 of Julius Peppers, that's for sure, not the way production was.
Well, I think you also have got to look at Mario, and I've said this before about Mario. Mario's a tough guy. You think about injuries that he has played with, and he's playing with either hernia or a groin problem. He will not come off the field. You have to give Mario credit for that. He will not come off the field. Sure, he's getting single block, but that guy is tough. And I think that mindset, I would like to see that mindset filter through the rest of the defense, but he plays when he's hurt. It doesn't matter. He's going to get himself on the field, and I think you got to give him credit for that. When he's 100% healthy, people cannot block him, but I don't think he's been 100% healthy this year.
I've always said let's put a shot collar on him and get him mad right before every play and let him go get it. That's what I say. All right, let's talk about the defensive backfield. Can't stay away from it. It's been they've just been getting torched. That's why they're the worst defense in the NFL. Quick thoughts on them, and what do they have to do to get it done tonight?
There's nothing they can do tonight. The question is, what can they do in the offseason? You know, the problem that they had was in the offseason when they disregarded experience. You know, they got rid of all the experienced guys, and they thought these young guys could do it. And there's something to be said about experience in the NFL. So unless they call a Fred Bennett, Dante Robinson, and Jock Reeves and try to trade for some of those guys before the game tonight, I don't think there's anything they can do.
Do you think they can at least hold water tonight?
Oh, definitely. Because when I think of Baltimore, I think of their defense. They have an up-and-coming young quarterback, but their offensive coordinator in Baltimore, you know, he's been getting some slack from the town because he hasn't been utilizing Anquan Bolden or some of the receivers like they think he should. So hopefully he won't get it right tonight, and the defensive backfield for the Texans won't look so bad.
All right, quick outcome tonight. What happens?
I think the Ravens are too physical. I'm going to say Ravens 27, Texans 24.
You know what? There's still a glimmer of hope. So I'm going to go with that glimmer of hope.
Say it.
And I'm going to call for the big upset. I think the defense for the Texans, they're going to wake up, and their offense can score on anybody. So I'm going to say the Texans 21, Baltimore Ravens 17.
Wow. All right,
you can
tell the guy who actually got a check from Bob McNair is still going with his man. All right, I'll give you my thoughts a little bit later on that one.